as far as practice is concerned, I want you to take this with you, because this is the theme. Okay, let me put it this way. Every time you lose your focus, you've gone into your programming. Because think about it. You don't really think about losing your focus, do you?
No, your mind just
It's an automatic. Well, where's your programming? Automatic. Your program is in your automatic pilot. So this is a muscle we all have to. You don't have to. This is a muscle we need to exercise, though, if you want miraculous things to happen from your meditation. Because the more concentrated, focused time you're putting on the divine, the more you reap from that. See? And it's more powerful. And like we said, when going in and out of the field, 8 times a second, think how many more times you're sending what you really want to send back into the field. Are you following me? Are you with me? And the thing I'm going to give you today, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but it's on emotions. Again, there are a lot of themes, I feel like, things that need to be re-emphasized and reconnected and kind of woven together. But emotions, are actually our friends. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about both, the negative and the positive. They're actually indicators. And remember, where do all your emotions go? Into the field. That's what carries your information into the field. So, your emotions are like lights on a dashboard, in a sense. So when you have them, aren't there basically just 2 kinds? They're the lower and the higher. Now they're extremes of each type. But even the lower ones are good for you. You know why? When you have them? Because they're warnings. It's like the warning on the dashboard. You better take care of this. Remember a refractory period, right? Because the longer you stay in an emotion, if you're in that for just a second, you've sent it into the field 8 times. Follow me? Now let me finish my thought here. So that's why it's important. Okay, the refractory thing, and the longer you stay, the more you become wired. And the more you become wired, the more it becomes automatic. And with every lower emotion, you are lowering your vibration and your body into disease. Every one of them. So, when the red light comes on, like anger or jealousy or your programming you're in right now, somebody pushes your button, because it may just be as simple as, disagreeing with somebody, or, your emotional reactions are always affecting you, always, and it's always sending into the field what it's going to bring back to you. Your emotions are actually what Jesus was talking about. You were sowing and reaping your emotions and information. So I'm just trying to make it clear that, and more upfront in your thinking. Now, I've noticed you've really been focusing pretty good there for a little while. And and I'm a teacher. It's something I've have a perspective on and can see. I know when someone is listening to me, or I know too, because remember, you're in the front of the room. they don't know that you see the whole room at once. They don't realize it. And you got peripheral vision, you can sense and see everything, you know. So, again, I want you to, today, and I want to take this with you when you leave, is, see, that whole time, even though I'm talking to you, I'm doing my best to come from my focus on the divine. Okay. And guess what? If you're focused on love, who are you focused on? Divine. See. So, I just felt that when I said that. Because the divine likes that. Divine likes paying attention to him or her or kid.
Yeah.
So, anyway, this should become your passion. You know, we're passionate about so many things out here, but what is the number one most important thing, period? The divine. Think about it. We say we don't have time for the divine.
Who controls time?
Do you understand, though? But we do. We make excuses, you know. And I got to thinking about this, you know. But we think, well, but I've got to do this. I've got to do this, and I've got to do this, and I've got to do this. Okay. But can you learn to focus in the process? You know, learn to put your mind on the divine in the process. Yeah, we all have things we have to do. So, anyway, I just want to make you aware of that. It's like some of those testimonies that Joe's had. One of this girl from Australia said, you know, when she had this experience and the divine showed up, and it was like, it said to her, I've always been here. So, I mean, that's the thing. And see, that will, in an instant, transform everything. Do you know you're passing through parallel realities 1 billion times a second? And you know what reality you end up in? The one you're vibrating with. So if you're vibrating with a lowering emotion, guess which reality you're going to go to next? See, this is what I don't get, why people don't get excited about this stuff. We figured it out. Did you know that? We figured this out. Joe's figured it out. This is not guesswork anymore. This is the way it is. You have complete control. You have the knowledge. Now all you have to do is practice. You have to implement. See, one of the things at first I was a little upset with, I thought, when we started meditating with Joe back in the days, older ones from Placebo, I had the same negative comments about Joe's meditations because I didn't feel like I could get into it. You know, it was like, but I also thought, well, I'm never meditated really. I'm not a meditator. You know, I've never really got into sitting here still and meditating. I've done the walking like that. So I thought I was at a disadvantage. But I come to find out I've been doing it for 2 months now every day, it was actually an advantage to never have meditated. Because I don't have preconceived ways that I think I have to meditate that keeps me from going all the way into the divine. See, I think some people when they meditate, they're not meditating on going to the divine. They're just sitting peacefully. And so if you've already developed that type of meditation mode, if you've already got those habits in place, it may be a hindrance for you going all the way. See, I've already had some amazing, yesterday morning, today wasn't as good, yesterday morning I was literally bawling and weeping for an hour because of the intensity. And I can't explain it. But I also know the love I felt and the love I was giving and feeling, I lost probably 10 years off my age. My body is like, I'm feeling this. And this is not just a feeling. We're talking about a resurrection, physical resurrection of the body. We're talking about a restoration. And the reason I'm sharing this, because I don't think you get it if you don't see that every healing is there. For everything. For every emotional problem, every physical problem. It's all in the divine. And you don't have to go in there and say, will you fix this and will you fix that? No. You just get in the presence. And wholeness makes things whole. And it's such a powerful thing. You get these elevated, you know how Joe says, have this elevated emotion. Have this elevated emotion. Well, it's like, there's no problem here. Once you get there, it's not trying to fake it, trying to make it, or anything like that. And then I remember what he said about the 1,400 chemicals that are being released in my body that's healing everything in this moment. And so, I hope I don't seem too pushy about it, but I'm thinking, people have got to see this. People have got to understand this. It's like, it's worth it to make yourself do this every morning for an hour. It is worth it. And I'm not talking about just getting up and meditating. I'm talking about this type of meditation. See, there's a difference between just meditating and what I'm doing. Because I talk to people all the time that meditate, and their life's a mess. I'm thinking, okay, what kind of meditating are you doing? I just want to make sure I don't do that one. No, seriously. Your life is your printout. Your physical body is your printout. We're talking about revelations coming to you. We're talking about insights. We're talking about downloads of, you may think of something that no one's even ever thought of before. And I just started reading this book again by Da Vinci. I told you about it, Thinking Like Da Vinci. Do you remember me mentioning that? Well, it hit me. It came back to mind, so I bought it again on Kindle. I couldn't find it back in my library. And oh my gosh, that was Da Vinci. When it talked about what he did and how, this was real intricate background about him and what he spent his time doing all the time. He would look at everything in nature and ask, why? Why is this doing this? Why is this doing that? And you know how we talk about being left and right brain, He was whole brain.
Obviously.
But Joe talks about this too. You become a whole brain. You become a whole brain in this meditation when you enter into that kundalini, that gamma wave that goes to your brain. You are a whole brain. Your brain is completely synchronized and lit up, and everything is harmonious and one and coherent. So no wonder you can get downloads of like Da Vinci, or you could get, a math formula. Because you remember how Einstein got his formula. He didn't get it going to school. He used his imagination for 10 years. I told you that story, right? Sitting on a beam of light and holding the mirror up and kept asking. He was 16, got in trouble in high school for daydreaming. Well, that was what he was doing. So anyway, but then he went to the left side of the brain and came up with that. So what I also want you to stop saying, I'm right-brained, I'm left-brained, I'm this, I'm that, because again, what are you doing to yourself?
Limiting.
Yes, you are saying, also identifying, this is me. I was just wondering, this question's on this thing here. And okay, I'm talking about today, right now, this moment. How much of who you are right now would you give up to be one with the divine? How much of it? Now we say, oh, okay. But I guarantee you there are probably still some things that you probably, if push came to shove, you wouldn't give up. It's easy to say until you test it. Because, I'll tell you why. It's the 95% programming thing. You still may think this is you when it really isn't you. It's your programming. See? But what do we still identify with all the time? And we're always saying, I am, like we talked about before. So, what I want you to do with this focus thing and mind on the divine, I want you to start saying, I'm whole brain, when somebody asks you. Because I'm begging my pardon here, but if I opened your brain up, I think you probably have a whole one. You probably got left and right side. Right? So aren't you whole brain? Now your programming may shift you to a different side or one or the other, but you are whole brain. Your brain is set up to think like God. Unlimited. Why would the divine give you this brain? See, if it wasn't there for it to communicate and actually live in. And if your Bible, it says we have the mind of God. It says it in the Bible. It says we have that. So, I'm just trying to shock you a little bit here today. Because I want you to contemplate. I'm ready to give it all up every time I meditate. In my mind, I'm giving it up. And I even say it to the divine. And we're going to meditate today. And we're going to do the chakra one. But I wanted to kind of coach you a little bit. And if you don't mind, if I can share a little bit what I'm doing and why it's happening. I want to coach you a little bit in this for you to see. Remember the 8 times a second thing? I love you. You're looking at me. 8 times a second. We're going in and out, right? Okay. Here's what I do, and I want you to try this if you need something to do to make this happen. See, my goal is like my song I wrote. I played for you the first time at Charities. I want you. I want all that you are in me, till nothing of me exists. To know who you are completely. Now, can you go in with that? See? It's like the phoenix being burned up. And then coming out of the ashes. See, we're supposed to die. You're supposed to die if you want resurrection. The program's got to die. And what are the benefits, though? What are you really giving up? Compared to divinity. Compared to walking around in you, consciousness, divinity. Wouldn't you have everything then? What would you need with the old programming? Nothing. So that's why Joe emphasized that so much. You've got to become no body, no self, no gender, nothing of this realm. No right brain, no left brain. And you know what that is? It's another Bible reference. Y'all don't mind Bible references, right? Paul said to do this. I present my body. Anybody know how to finish it?
It will be given up for you.
Close. As a living sacrifice. And you know when I am doing my meditation, that's exactly what I'm telling the divine. Here it is. Here's a living sacrifice. It's for you. And like I've said before, here's what we're missing out on, all of us that don't do this, including me. You are a unique expression of the divine. There's nobody like you. You are a precious stone. for that light, that holy, powerful light to shine through. See? But you're covered with layers of programming. You're covered with layers of guilt. You're covered with layers of inadequacy. You're covered with layers of grief. You're covered with layers of faulty, and this is not reference to you, faulty relationships. We all have them and have had them. But you're going to play something from Joe here today too. Remember the atoms and molecule thing when you're joined together in the energy thing. So until you let go of those energies, you can't give that to divine. How much do you think the divine wants? You shouldn't hesitate. Because guess what you're going to get back from it? Yeah. I'm telling you, heaven on earth. All right, what do you want? What do you want? Let's go to the infinite possibility store. Right? Infinite possibility store, and just like Amazon, we deliver. Right? Remember, the universe, the store will deliver it to you. All you got to do is send in your order with your emotions.
Reach out and grab it.
Yes. So I just can't get more. I don't know if I can get more excited about it. It's like the paper I'm going to give you. I don't want you to read it today. You can read it later. But it starts talking about the emotion thing. This is the true heaven and hell that we're experiencing right now in this time. You know the Bible, if you translate the Greek, and it says eternal life is actually the word eonal, and literally means age during life, which means in this time, during the ages, life. So this is what we're talking about, see? We're talking about entering in to what most people think you're going to get when you die and go to heaven. Right? And so Paul says, present your body. Go ahead.
Sorry, you have to drink it right away if you're going to put it in there. Okay. Because if it sits, it'll start eating up the last.
That's okay. That's all right. Along with saying, I present my body as a living sacrifice, which is holy and acceptable unto God, Paul also says this. He was talking to, I don't know if it was Galatians or who it was. Ephesians, I think. He said, I pray that you be wholly sanctified, spirit, soul, and body. In other words, your whole being set apart. And he says at the end, so that you may prosper. And he didn't stop there. He said, and be in good health. So we're talking, see, heaven's health is right now. Now, you know what I really got excited about? I played one of Joe's. I hadn't seen this one before. This was like recent. It's this Q&A thing. Somebody asked him about death. He said, yeah. And they asked him, they said, why, if we can do this with our bodies, why do we have to die? I thought, yes, finally, somebody's going to talk about this. Yeah. And that's where he went. He says we have the immortal gene.
He said our bodies are outlasting our minds.
But that's not true totally. That's in the world, though. He's not talking about people that are doing what we're doing. Well, that's obvious because he's talking about dementia, Alzheimer's, and that stuff, that type of thing. But he said and he talked about the 98% genes, didn't he? You watched. We have the ability. The resurrection isn't, it's what you're going through right now. Every time you go into that meditation, you're baptizing yourself in the divine and you're resurrecting, see. So here's what I want you to think about when you do your energy centers. I'm going to tell you what I do in all of them. Who wants to stand up so I can show it? Oh, we got a bunch of volunteers. I was just going to use one person to show here. So whatever. Move right out here and stand sideways like this. Here's what I visualize. Okay. So every 8 times a second, we're going from particle back to the wave, aren't we? Right? Then it comes back into particle, then to wave, particle, wave, particle. So here's what I say, because remember my song, I want all that you are in me. So I see that the particles doing that, and the particles are me, and I say all of me in you. And then I say all of you in me. All of you, all of me in you, and all of you in me. And that's what I'm doing on the whole time I'm on that energy center when he says to bless it. And just, you know, he talks about symbols, or he talks about, so what I'm doing is I'm seeing the particles that are me going into the divine. And listen, don't just look at the dark and see it dark. Think divine. Don't just think dark, think divine. Think, and that mindset that it's on the divine, and I'm putting all of me into the divine. I'm living sacrifice. I'm letting go of all of me into you. And I want, and I expect all of you into me.
Well, my question is,
Yes.
if all of me is in the divine, that's all I need, isn't it?
Well, but you're always coming back to
Because-
this realm, though. Yes.
Oh,
No, see, you're always.
you mean when
I'm
you
talking
come
about-
back to the body?
Yes. But
So-
see, that's the process. See,
Yeah.
we're going wave particle, wave particle, wave
Right,
particle.
okay, gotcha.
All of me is the particle into all of you, and I'm bringing back all of the divine.
Okay, into the
From the
particle.
wave.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm reaping the divine from the wave.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm letting go of all of me into him or it, and saying, expecting all of the divine to come back into me.
Okay.
And the Bible talks about being filled up with the fullness of God. Have you ever heard that phrase from the Bible? Yeah. Being filled up with all the fullness. I'm literally, when I do that meditation, are you okay, Terry?
Yeah, I just had a headache on
Oh,
morning.
I'm sorry.
No,
Here's-
it's not you.
I know. Here's what I want you to do at the end of the meditation now. I'm going to ask you to change up, and I want you to meditate the way you normally have. I want you to do your normal meditation, but is this helping at all, what I'm saying, though? For you to see this, and the other thing I do is this. Of course, it's all biblical reference, but for me, it's powerful. It's like, okay, do you remember the armor of God that the Bible used to talk, the breastplate of righteousness, and the shield of faith, the sword of the Spirit, and my loins are girded with truth. Isn't this the first chakra? Mm-hmm. Your loins. See? But anyway, I start seeing this, like Iron Man's armor coming. Have you seen Iron Man where it flies through the air? And so this is my visualization coming out of the wave. See, the armor of God is just, you know, just like Iron Man.
Okay.
See, like Iron Man now. And remember, he says, "I'm invincible." At the end of the
Yes.
meditation, we'll talk about invincibility and
Yes.
being invincible. And so anyway, I'm just giving you an idea. If that could work for you, okay. If not, but I'm trying to give you something that will raise your, what's the word? Passion. Raise your emotional height in it. I'm literally, and at the end of it, I want you to do this. And we got room for everybody to do this today. After they finish, or he finishes the eighth one, the one that's 16 inches above your head, and then you have the gong. What is that bell? What's that called? Is that Indian? You know what I'm talking about, though. But he does that after each point.
Like a Tibetan.
Yeah,
Taoist
yeah,
or something.
yeah. And I'm sure it has a purpose. But anyway, after that, do you remember how it changes? And it starts the real powerful music, and that's when I do. Okay, I'm doing my meditation here, but once that starts, boom, I'm like this. I'm like, and then it just intense. And then when I see my body, I see particles, and I see them going in and out and in and out and in and out. And pretty soon I'm electrified. It's like, I mean, I'm feeling electricity to the point that I'm shaking. And I'm bawling like a baby. I'm weeping. I'm just, and it's just, I can't tell you. It's just, but you have to let go. You have to go. You have to, you can't be who you are right now. Are you following me?
Yeah.
You gotta go beyond who you are. You gotta go after it. You gotta want it. That's not like coach, no.
Life coach.
But it's true. It's true. It's like he's right when he says it will come back at you with the same enthusiasm that you go after it. I had to overcome this morning. I did my meditation. I didn't sleep well all night. I was up. Sometimes I don't when I'm doing this because I'm thinking about stuff. But I was up at 5 o'clock. And I did my first meditation at 7. Oh my gosh, it was flat as anything. And I thought, oh my God. And I even went through the self thing, you know, incrimination and all the negative things you go through, blaming yourself or what's going on, da 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 da. I even thought, am I going to be able to do today? You know, I went that way too. You don't know how many times I'm sharing something here I don't usually share. I go through that every once in a while with this. Am I going to be able to do this? You know, I don't want to just do, this has got to be good. You know, this has got to be from you. You know, I'm talking about the divine. So, no, it was flat as could be. And then I had to fight myself. I'm trying to tell you this to tell you a story so you know what you have to fight that self that wants to give up or give in. And so at about 10 o'clock, I thought, no, I've got some time here to do it again. And so this time, I said, no, I'm not giving up, and you're going to be there. I'm talking to the and it's like, so, and this time it was just like yesterday. I almost flew through the roof. It was like, now what would have happened if I just gave up? Think about that. Now, it doesn't mean the world will come to an end. You know what I mean? But you know what I did, though? I overcame.
Yes.
Which makes me an overcomer.
Yes.
Which means the next time I know if it happens, I can overcome it again.
And that's what I
See.
meant when I said I've been in chaos.
Yes.
Because when I've been doing my meditation, I have to keep fighting myself to get back
When you say get back from what, though?
from my program.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, that's the point, though. See, that's what Joe
Yeah.
said. That's why when you start, you may not be very good at it. You may not get anything out of it for a week or two, even. But like he said, though, he's always saying, come on, cross the river with me. Take the trip. You'll be glad you did. Because once you do experience this, you will never go back. And you're on your way. See. So, and it doesn't mean you won't ever, he's still, even after all these years, he's been doing this. He'll still say, yeah, sometimes it takes me 2 hours to get into it. Because, yeah, I'll think, oh, I got these emails. I've got to think about this plane flight. I got to think about this seminar. And so he gets into the outer world, he says, you know, just like we all do. So I'm doing this also to encourage you. The benefits. And you can't tell me. You cannot tell me that you don't want perfect health. That you don't want a perfect, healthy body. You can't tell me, oh, I'm happy the way I am. That's an excuse.
When I'm doing my
it's an-
meditation, I'm thanking all of my energy centers for being whole health. Besides doing the Ho'oponopono.
Yes, well, and that's you need to do whatever does it for you. But yes, but I've gotten to the point where, you know, and it's like he said, it literally increases as I go up. It literally it's burning, it gets stronger, but it's supposed to. Each one of those vibrate, this is the lowest vibration, so as you go up, it's a higher vibration. And you know where the sticking point is? You know where your real nexus is in this whole thing? Right here.
So,
Right here. Because, you know what that is? It's your will. Are you going to give up? See? This is your will power right here. And I'll tell you what I do. I do what Jesus did. What was his prayer? Not my will. So that's another powerful thing I use here. Not my will, but yours, the divine. Your will be done. And then I bless each energy center with new unzipping God genes. I'm unzipping the God genes. I'm getting this center ready for God to inhabit all the genes. Turn on all these God genes. See, I'm using all the information I'm learning, like he talks about. Information and knowledge is power. See, it's tools. It's tools for you to implement, use, and do. See, and then, and I get the point. Sometimes it's just wherever it takes me. But those are some things I do. The other thing I always say is all of you and all of me. And then there's a scripture in the Bible that says, with unveiled face beholding in a mirror. Remember I quoted that at your house, that first. With unveiled face, which means your programming and ego is gone. The facade you wear every day is gone. And you're looking in a mirror, you're finally seeing who's in there. See? And that's what I do is when I get to my eye. Because isn't this where we see the pineal? The eye. This, I like what Joe says. This is your eye. This is not what you see with. These capture light. You don't see with these. You see with this one. So and remember the other one, when my eye is clear, Jesus said my body will be full of light. So I go through those when I talk about my eye being clear, and I said I'm turning my eye on you. And then I say, and I say this a lot at the end, I want to know as I am known. See, that's something else Paul said in 1 Corinthians 13 at the end of the love chapter. He said, when you put away childish things and become mature, he says, then you will know as you are known. Well, think about it. You're going to know the divine in the same intensity that the divine knows you. Now, isn't that the ultimate goal? To know the divine in the fullness that the divine knows me. I will know, or I know as I am known. And I say that too when I get up to the seventh one, because, you know, I think about the mind of God up here, and I think about knowing as I am known, because again, this is where this starts funneling in. This is where all of the information from the field starts funneling in here. When this is opened up, and he talks about opening up into infinity, I see it pouring in. I have a visualization of all this power and knowledge, infinite, flowing into me. Now I'm just giving you ways to visualize. See, I think it's not effective for me to just sit there and put my attention on it. Follow me?
I see this open.
That's what I mean.
I mean, it's kind of like a vase, you know?
Yep.
It's kind of small here.
And then it opens up.
It just keeps getting wider and wider and wider.
Exactly.
And all that just keeps...
And then see the infinite field flowing into you.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have time to show you this, but Joe goes through this and shows it that, have you ever seen a magnet in math or a science class has a field around it? And you'd have shavings that if you put them on, the shavings would take the form of the field around it. Well, and he shows the magnet has a north and south pole, and he says, we do too. North and south pole. It's the exact same concept. And a torus, energy goes in like this, and it flows out like this. And then I heard Nassim Haramein, who is a quantum physicist, he's a current one, he's like a young guy, really good. He said, he discovered that the black hole is not H-O-L-E, it's W-H-O-L-E. The black holes that they see in the universe are actually toruses. What we are. And then he said, we're actually black holes. This is a physicist. Then he said, every cell in your body is a mini black hole that has the same field, energy, light going in and out. Your cells are. That's why Joe talks about that too. And the reason he goes into much science and the body and cells, he wants you to visualize your cells becoming these toruses with light going in and out. He wants you to see that. You see what I'm saying? And then he wants you to see yourself as a torus with this in and out and flowing. See, he has a point to everything. It's not just to throw all his knowledge out there. It's for you to have something to see, something to feel, something to visualize. And it's actually true. It's actually going on, and you're becoming aware. See, you're becoming totally aware of this. Okay.